Let me ask you something. When you hear business analyst, what do you picture? Someone quietly taking notes in a meeting? Well, if that's your answer, you're going to want to stick around. That idea is completely outdated. The role has had a massive shakeup, and honestly, the BA of yesterday is basically obsolete. Today, we're going to break down what this seismic shift means for the industry, and, way more importantly, what it means for your career. Okay, so let's just put this side by side so you can really see the difference. The old school BA, their job was basically to be a bridge. They'd gather up the requirements, document all the processes, kind of a go-between. But the modern BA, whoa, it's a whole different ballgame. They're more like the pilot of the rocket ship. They're the strategic leaders, the technology integrators. They are literally directing the transformation. This isn't just a simple little upgrade, it's a total redefinition of the job. And look, the stakes here are incredibly high. The numbers don't lie. Companies that have these effective, modern BAs on board, they're more than 3 times as likely to actually achieve their big transformation goals. I mean, think about that. That's not just a tiny advantage. That is often the difference between a project soaring to success or crushing and burning. All right, so let's dig in. Section 1, the role has changed. We're going to look at why this isn't just some fad, it's a critical, necessary evolution. And you don't have to take my word for it. The source material is pretty blunt about this. It says the old image of a BA just gathering requirements, well, it's obsolete. That's a strong word, right? The market is screaming for a totally new kind of professional. Someone who doesn't just translate what the business wants, but actually gets ahead of it, anticipates needs, and helps shape the future. So what does this new person actually do? Well, picture a wheel. The modern BA is the central hub. They're the ones connecting all the spokes. You've got IT over here, data science over there, UX, marketing, all of them. They bring it all together to drive real comprehensive change. This job is no longer some siloed back office position. It's a super collaborative, high-impact leadership role, front and center. And one of their biggest superpowers? A relentless focus on data. I mean, they live and breathe it. By really pushing for a data-first approach, these modern BAs help their companies become a full 30% more likely to hit their targets. That's huge. It's all about moving away from, I think this might work, to the data shows us this is the path forward. It's strategy, not guesswork. Okay, so you're probably asking, how do they actually pull this off? Well, that brings us right to our next section, the 5 modern pillars. Think of these as the fundamental building blocks, the core skills that every single successful modern BA needs to have. Pillar number 1, automation strategy and implementation. The old BA, they just document a manual process. First you click here, then you type this. The new BA, they look at that process and ask, how can we automate this? They're the ones identifying where automation can really add value, checking out technologies like RPA, and literally designing the future automated version of that process. They're builders, not just scribes. Let's make this super concrete. Imagine processing invoices. Instead of just drawing a flowchart of how a person does it, the modern BA architects a whole new workflow. They'll look at an RPA tool, that's robotic process automation, to see if a bot can read the invoices automatically. Then they'll design a smart system where, say, 95% of the invoices fly through and only the weird ones get flagged for a human to look at. And then they build the whole business case to get it approved. See the difference? It's proactive. Next up, Pillar 2, AI integration and collaboration. This is a big one. BAs have become that absolutely critical bridge between the business side and the AI engineers. They're the ones helping to implement machine learning to solve real problems, like predicting which customers might leave or figuring out the perfect amount of inventory to have on hand. They translate the business goal into something that tech team can actually build, making sure the fancy AI is actually useful. Pillar 3, data-driven decision-making. And let me be clear, this one is completely non-negotiable. You have to be fluent in data. We're talking analytics, visualization tools, maybe even some predictive modeling. This is a baseline requirement now. BAs use this data to prove or disprove ideas and to help guide the C-suite on their biggest strategic moves. Okay, Pillar 4, agile and DevOps integration. The modern BA has to be comfortable in those super fast-paced, constantly changing development environments. They're embedded right in the team, providing that crucial business context inside what's called a CI/CD pipeline, which is just the fancy term for the fast, automated way we build and release software these days. And last but not least, Pillar 5, low-code and no-code platform management. Honestly, this is a total game changer. With these new tools, BAs can actually build and test out their own solutions fast. We're talking about showing a working prototype in days or weeks, not waiting months or years for a development team. They've become builders in their own right. All right, so we've talked about the skills, but what's the actual result? What's the payoff? That's what Section 3 is all about, the real-world impact and the tools that make it all happen. Let's kick this off with a jaw-dropper of a number, 300%. What's that? In the world of finance, where every second counts, modern BAs are designing AI systems that spot fraud 300% faster than the old ways. That's not just an improvement, that's a revolution. It's a clear return on investment that saves companies millions, and it's driven directly by this new kind of BA. And this isn't just happening in finance, it's everywhere. In healthcare, we're talking a 25% reduction in patient readmissions. In retail, a 35% increase in conversions. Manufacturing is seeing 30% less equipment downtime and a 20% drop in inventory costs. I mean, the impact is broad, it's deep, and it is absolutely measurable. So how are they getting these incredible results? Well, their toolkit has gotten a serious upgrade. This is the modern BA's workbench. It's got everything from data analytics tools like Python and SQL to automation platforms like UiPath, all the way to low-code tools like the Power Platform. And just knowing about these isn't enough. Mastery is the name of the game. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in. You're probably sitting there thinking, how on earth is one person supposed to master all of that? I get it, and that's exactly why our final section is all about taking action. We're going to lay out a transformation roadmap for your career. But first, let's be real for a second. This new role, it isn't a walk in the park. The pace of technology is just relentless. You're juggling complex relationships across different departments, and there's intense pressure to deliver results you can actually measure, all while dealing with tight budgets. It is definitely a high pressure, but also a very high reward environment. The good news is there's a clear path to get there. It's not just a random scramble. You can think of it in 3 stages. Step 1 is about building your foundation. Spend the first 3 to 6 months really nailing down SQL, BI tools, and agile. After that, step 2 is moving into advanced integration, getting comfortable with APIs, low code, and the core concepts behind AI. And finally, step 3 is where you become a strategic leader, getting into data science and enterprise architecture. It's a journey for sure, but it's a manageable one. So it all comes down to this. The business analyst of the future, they aren't just a supporting character in the story of transformation anymore. They're not on the sidelines, they are the protagonist. They don't just help change happen, they lead it. And so the only question left for you is, are you ready to lead?